Welcome to the SAP HANA Academy. My name's Bob, and in this series of videos we're looking at the live free scenario where we use HANA to perform advanced real-time social media analytics. So in the previous series of videos, what we did is we built a storyboard within SAP Predictive Analysis which contains infographics. So we had one storyboard here, then we have another one here, and all of these comprise these three boards exist on one storyboard. What we did is we then published the content in the last video to SAP Lumira server. So here's an example of that content. But what we're doing here is viewing the content within SAP Lumira server. What we want to do is view this content within our own application. So we're going to do that by modifying this front end. It's very, very easy to do. So to do this, I don't need predictive analysis anymore, so I'll save that document, shut down. We don't need SAP Lumira server, although we are going to need the URL, so I'll keep this up open. So I'm going to be quite lazy when I do this. I'm going to essentially override this about option. So, sorry, not override about, I'm going to override this overview, which essentially is a link to the SAP HANA Academy. I'm going to create a new, I'm going to override this with a word which is analysis, and we're going to embed our analytic here, our storyboard here. So to do this, again, what we need to do is go to our IDE. Now, what I would advise is the following. So I'm going to shut down the browser. We don't need Node.js now. We've proved that it's running and it's live, so I've just killed Node.js. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a incognito window. It just makes sure that we're not using any cache when we're actually accessing our pages. So obviously to modify the content, I need to go to my IDE. I'm going to log in as the dev01 and log in with my password. So the content, as Phil's already discussed, is within your dev01 live free. This is the high level access to your system, but actually for us to access the viewing pieces, we need to go to this package called view. So there's only a couple of files here that we have to change. The first one is the app view.js. It's this one, because basically what we're going to do again is rename that option, which is at the moment set to overview. We're going to call it analysis. So all I'm going to do is scroll down. I'm going to look for overview, which is our top one, and I'm going to simply name this to analysis, like so. And that's actually all I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the link. Of course, I could realistically change this to make it all clean, but I'm going to leave the link as overview because I'm only going to change some key files. The only thing that I might want to do then is change the order. So I'm actually going to put this further down the line. So I'm going to change it from being at the top. So I'm going to Control X to extract that. And I'm going to place it further down the line. So I'm going to place it underneath my settings. So I'm going to place it here. So all I've done is I've moved in the list where it's displayed. That's the only thing I've done here, but I've left the link to overview. So then what I'll do is I'll click on save to save that. That's the only real change that we need to do here. No other change is necessary to make this work. So next, all I need to do is change what that overview page links to. So if I close down the appview.js and go to my overview.view.js file, this is essentially what it's pointing to. So at the moment, you can see, again, as Phil explained, it's pointing to a YouTube video, which was that YouTube video within the SAP HANA Academy. Now, all I need to do is change a few things here. So the first thing I'm going to change is the title on the page. So I'm going to call this analysis again. So we're just giving it a different title. And then here, I'm going to change what we actually display. I'm going to actually display a URL. So what is the URL I'm going to display? Well, all I need to do is go back to SAP Lumira server. We've already covered about how to display the title bar, or for example, or displaying edit mode. We covered that in the previous video. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to info, and I'm going to copy this URL. This is actually what I'm going to paste into that URL. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to my SAP HANA editor and I'm simply going to replace the link to the video like so. So I'm going to replace it all the way up to here, up to the detail page. Okay. Once you've done that, there's only a few things you need to do. So we don't need this frame border equals 0 command. So I'm going to take that out. We do need to allow full screen. So I'm going to leave that in, and it's still going to be in an iframe. But the difference is, because of the resolution of my screen, again, you can change this depending on what you want to do. I'm going to specify the width of being an exact number, not a percentage. So I'm going to say the width is going to be, for me, because I'm recording this in HD, is the width is going to be 930 wide, and the height is going to be 510 in height, just so I can see everything on the full screen and I don't have to scroll. Of course, you might want to do this as a percentage to make it real. Lastly, what you might want to consider changing is this, where it refers to HANA. Of course, this will work because I'm accessing this analytic from within the remote desktop. But of course, if I was accessing this from outside of this remote desktop, I would have to put here the machine name or the IP address of my HANA system, and of course make sure that the relevant port's open. So when you've done that, all you need to do then is again save this document. So that's actually it. You don't need to do anything. Of course, it would be better to create an extra icon. I've just been very lazy and I've overridden what we have in overview.vue.js. So now that we've done that, obviously we want to test. So I've saved both files. What I'm going to do is I'm going to log out of my web IDE. Don't need this anymore, so I'll log out. We don't need Lumira server now, so again I can log out. And again I'm going to go back in, so I'm going to launch my browser. I'm going to log into Live Free. And actually what I'll do is I'll do this making sure I don't use the cache by using an incognito window. I'm going to log in as Live Free. So what we should see on the left hand side is a link to the analysis icon, which essentially is the same link to overview. I'll log into my app as the Dev01 user. So here we can see that we've got our analysis link here on the left hand side, and when I select it, it should link us to that object. And it should be the right size because I actually specified the size of the document. So of course here you can, I've turned off refresh and open. I just wanted to display how you link. So here of course you've got the front page of the infographic. If I select here, you've got the next page with our, where we've changed the markers based on SVG. And of course on the last page we've still got that animated SVG within our stacked bar chart. Of course, what I've done here is I've been lazy and I've left the word analytic as lowercase. So again, just to fix that very quickly, if I go back to my IDE, I only changed the code in 2 places. So if I go down in my Dev01 user to my Live 3 package, within Vue, if I expand that, all we did was change this appview.js file. So if I scroll down, I changed this. So I'm going to put this back to analysis. I'll save that. And of course, then we were lazy. We just changed the overview.vue.js file, and instead of using a YouTube page, we linked to our SAP Lumira document, and we specified the width and the height. That's all we did. So of course, if I close the editor, and if I refresh, we can see analysis is now in capitals. Of course, we have our segmentation analytic, which shows the clustering that we've got. But now when I click on analysis, of course, now what we have is a link to our SAP predictive analysis storyboard, which contains our 3 infographics. So I hope you enjoyed that short video on how we can embed content from SAP Lumira's server in applications built in SAP UI5.